Any questions? Anyway, if you have any questions, go ahead.
Do you have any advice to find a good idea?
Find a good idea? Actually, I don't. It's usually found within you. You know, you must have issue with something. It has to come from within you. Then find a solution. If it's a borrowed idea, it's not going to thrive within yourself.
Thank you for a very good presentation. Just a quick question. Your talk actually dealt a lot with patents, which means something which is a manufactured product. So it's quite interesting because Japan itself is very strong and prominent in the manufacturing sector, but people who come from certain other parts of the world are more attuned to maybe a webware development and things like that. So in the case of something like Kiva, which set up a social entrepreneurship model for loans for developing communities based from India or wherever, that kind of concept doesn't really require so much, protection in terms of patents, but it's something that is, of course, there is a copyright towards the software code and things like that. So what is your opinion regarding
Kiva?
Or something which, software, intellectual property which is actually software, as opposed to something which is a manufactured product?
Now, Kiva itself is not software. It is a business, of course, and that uses website,
of course,
to fundraise and so forth. Yeah?
But your talk actually showed a pump, which is something which could be a manufactured product, and it's a discrete item which can be, a certain number of units sold. But Kiva itself is not a unit of something which is being sold.
It is. In the case of Kiva, it's not a patentable idea, but it is an idea that is associated with particular people, group of people, and there's operational know-how that attached with it. And once you have that all streamlined, then it's hard to compete.
So what is more attractive for Japanese investors, for example? This is very interesting because I've had exposure to business plan competitions in UK, and they think more on if it's a web-based item. Of course, that's not entirely absolutely true because, they like something which is meaty and a discrete item which is manufacturable. But, Japan has a certain strength in items which are manufactured, so that's why I'm very curious and I'm very interested to hear your response on that.
To tell you the truth, here in Japan, venture capitalists are not doing much work. It's hard for them to invest in a manufacturing business. It is unlike investing in web-based companies where you can buy 3 computers and 5 people, you have a business. Manufacturing business takes a lot of money. It's like a clean technology business. Clean tech in America is becoming a big business too. And who's investing? It's usually large investor who's able to invest $10 million to $50 million. Web business, it usually starts from $500,000, maybe up to $5 million, and you IPO. So for this kind of business, Japanese VCs are not doing well.
I had one more question regarding management, because of course that's something that's critical to the operation of the company, the strategy, the operations. And in Japan, we have a very specific style of nemabashi, kind of running the business, which I think is very interesting because some of us have never experienced that kind of management style before. So it's very important, I guess, to be aware of these things when one writes a business plan, especially for a market which is here in Japan. So would you have any ideas as to how one would deal with that, that element going into the business plan?
In Japan, what we're seeing in many companies are collective decision making, and it takes consensus building. Whereas entrepreneurship is very different from collective decision making. It usually takes one person, a very committed person, to launch a business. Many people think starting a new business venture within a corporation has a better chance of winning. Actually, it is the other way. Many Japanese companies have tried to set up corporate venture business, and it's been 10, maybe 12 years. So far, there's no company that went IPO. Collective decision making. Problem with collective decision making. Good side is consistency. The bad side is it kills the pointed idea. Usually, pointed ideas are crushed within this process. It sticks out. It's usually the venture business that thrives in pointed ideas. That's why Japan is facing some issues with developing new business culture. I mean, I think it's changing, but it's tough. So if you have an idea and you think you're going to be able to spend your life for some better purpose, start a business venture as an entrepreneur, not as a corporate entrepreneurship. It's tough, very tough. OK、時間減る結構おいしいですね。じゃあ、後で。Let's talk about this afterwards, yeah? OK, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. for Slate and eye-opening speech.